Okay. Hello and welcome to the Bale House presentation. The Bale House is a brand new straw bale visitor centre in Hastings Country Park in the UK. It was built by a consortium of straw bale building UK members, and we have learned a fantastic amount, and this is our journey. So I'm Mary Rawlinson, I'm a sustainability consultant and I work with Green and Castle Limited.
And I'm Christopher and I run Huff and Puff Construction Limited.
And as part of the build, Phil was the actual contractor and I was the project manager.
And here you can see on the little mark there, that's Hastings on the southeastern coast of the UK. And the project was funded by, partially funded by the Interreg UP STRAW project, which has been doing great work. And I'm sure you've been hearing lots about recently, and there are lots of other videos here mentioning the project as well.
And also heavily supported by Hastings Borough Council, without whom it just wouldn't have happened, particularly their superstar environmental manager, Marie Davison.
Yes, absolutely brilliant clients to have. And we should also give a mention to Liz Crisp from Cave Architects as well, who designed the building. So this is the finished entrance to the building, which is very exciting. And the building is now just very recently opened, just in the past 2 or 3 weeks.
So the site that we started with is actually a protected site. It has a number of designations. One of them is a site of special scientific interest. And the second is an area of outstanding natural beauty. So as a team, we had to be very, very careful about what we did and where we did it and how we did it and the materials that we used. And there was actually an archaeological watching brief across the development for the whole build, where whenever we broke ground or moved to a new corner, the archaeologists came and watched over and stopped any exciting finds, of which there were a couple.
And that's it. And so you can see the groundwork starting on site. There's lots of excavation that was done. The site is really very heavy clay and sand, which was an interesting site to work with. Some of it was really difficult. So it went from literally sand and clay through to sandstone and mudstone. So we had to have some really big diggers to try and dig out all the foundations for the site. And here you can see we've got some car tyre foundations there on the left, which we had our big large timber posts went on top of. You can see the preparation going on for our Limecrete floor, top left there, and the recycled concrete blocks that we use, so made from recycled aggregate. Yes, a more sustainable circular economy solution to blocks.
We also had a box beam that we filled with a
foam glass gravel.
Thank you very much. Foam glass gravel.
Yes, we used various different insulations, didn't we? We'll talk a bit more about that on the other slides when we do the walls as well. But you can see the Limecrete floor being laid here. So this was on top of foam glass, about 290, 300 mil of foam glass gravel in the floor. And this is the Limecrete screed of 100 mil being poured on top, giving us a lovely flat floor. Then we went on to the timber frame. And this was all using sustainably York-sourced UK Douglas fir. Mostly we can see here, the posts there were turned larch posts. And then once the frame was complete, we then moved on to the roof. This is birch ply being laid out on the roof. And this is sort of where we first sort of started hitting on serious weather. We haven't shown you too many bad photos of the weather that we had there so far. We had nice sunny photos, but because the build went later into the year than we were hoping it was going to happen before everything was finished. We ended up having to put a tin hat on the building to be able to carry on working underneath. And also by this point, towards the end of 2019, I think that we'd already at least twice, I think, had sort of 60 or 70 mile per hour winds. It's just an exceptionally exposed site. So just to mention, it's we're sort of looking towards the sea, that direction past the building, and the sea's not a terribly long way away, just a few hundred yards, and we're about 155 meters up, and it's about the highest point in the local area. So it really does get a tremendous amount of weather, and even on sunny days, you can end up with almost weather like this, where you're just in the cloud. So yeah, November, was it late November, start of December, we were ready for the straw. So we had some straw that had been stored, actually dry stored in a barn, which was an amazingly good condition for 2 or 3 years, I think, wasn't it? And then we topped it up with some extra straw that we had delivered. And here we are storing that inside the building. And there we are preparing the bales ready to go into the walls. So we had a different baling station set up. So you can see this is you can see the timber frame behind it. So this is a timber frame infill technique. It's very, very similar to load bearing, but with more posts involved, basically. So we had posts every sort of meter, 2 meters in order to be able to support the building. And we did this because the building really, it was such an exposed site. This was just exactly the right way that we needed to build. Everything was held very securely, structure-wise, and then we compressed the straw into the frame. So we can see that's the method that we use there. There are big steel plates up on top of the straw bales there, and then we compress it down, pop the last bale of straw in, and then release the compression. More excellent straw work going on there. And that's the finished walls. So you can see they're lovely and nice and flat and tidy, and ready for a trim and ready for some render. And this pretty much took us up to Christmas, Mary, I think, in 2019.
That's absolutely right. It was just before Christmas.
And this is our excellent team.
Yeah, tremendous straw bale builders. Yeah. Yeah,
really, really good team. We were so lucky throughout the project to work with so many really, really good people. And that was our Christmas break, I think. So then we went to, everyone went back home. And then when we came back in January, we started, we had contractors in doing the roof. So the roof was insulated and a single ply membrane put on the roof. And you can see lots and lots of roof windows there, which are just in the process of being fitted as well. I remember it being so wet here and so cold that it was raining underneath the tin hat, wasn't it? Because it was, water was condensing. Yeah. It was really very difficult. And here we can see some render going on. So this is on the side, which is actually timber clad eventually, but we can see there's a layer of render which has been spray applied. And here we can see, again, the lime plaster on the inside of the walls. And this took us to the point where we could start thinking about paint. We had a lot of discussion about what color the building was going to be inside and out, and did lots of testers and lots of samples. We actually used a paint called Grafenstone, Mary, didn't we? Which is a new lime-based paint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually an award-winning paint now, as it includes some ingredients. It's very breathable, specifically for lime, and allows the ingredients combined to sequester carbon as part of its specialist skill, as well as being very hard-wearing and very robust, and coming in a very wide palette of colours.
Yes, we had custom colours, didn't we? It was good.
We did.
So here we can see some of the internal fit out happening. This is for the kitchen, the toilet cubicles, and different bits and pieces like that. And that took us up to March, when, of course, COVID happened. The lockdown in the UK started on March the 23rd. And we had to make the choice of what to do. And it was either keep everybody in Hastings for the duration or send everybody back home. So yeah, we let people go back and be with their families. And then we came back onto site at the start of July 2020. And then we got into more exciting internal work. So we laid the floor. So this is a breathable epoxy finish that's on the floor, onto the limecrete floor. All of the Douglas fir cladding on the outside. This is a lovely, the one curve on the building. And the decking. It's a big, strong commercial deck, around sort of mostly about about 3/4 of the building. And you can see the lovely larch posts there and the roof finished off at the top. Internal painting, there we go. So this is the palette that we chose. So there was kind of broadly a creamy sort of color, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We have painted the walls. Yeah, down at the bottom there. And yes, and that darker color, which is the same color painters on the outside as well that we've got on the fitting out. Lots and lots of Douglas fir used for the rest of the trim and the windowsills and other bits and pieces inside.
All as local as we could source it.
Absolutely. And here's the forecourt. This is as you can probably see, it's very wet in this picture. And so this whole area has been designed to allow for drainage. So it's basically, it can capture all the water down into a geocell area beneath it and then gradually drain it away into the French drain that we have around the building. This is Vern valiantly fitting bits of the toilet together, I think, in that photo, and doing lots of the internal trim and different fittings that we had to sort out. And this is a momentous day when we finally got the entrance doors fitted and with the decals stuck on them there. You can see that they're shaped to look like sort of sheaves of straw, which is lovely. And this is another wonderful thing. So this is the local artist, wasn't it, Mary?
That's right. So on the lane that the building is on lives an internationally renowned local artist, and she popped by one day and asked if she could use her memorial money from her husband's passing as something in the building or in the grounds. And we got chatting, and I realised that she was an artist and wondered if she would like to do some artwork for us. And so we chose these two pieces that actually she'd already created, and we had them cover our beautiful cupboards. And so when you go into the entrance doors now, and also actually in the toilets, there are a number of her pieces of work in permanent residence, which is absolutely fantastic, and she's thrilled to bits. Yeah, and her name is Annie Soudain, if you'd like to look her up.
Yeah, it's a really impressive entrance, isn't it? It does look really good.
Fantastic.
And this was inside after it was all finished and cleaned up, before anything else went in. And now we'll move on to just quickly some of the good, the bad, and the ugly points of the build, just so that we can share some of these things with you as part of our journey. So some of the good things were definitely the team that we had. Murray, the client, Liz, the architect, absolutely fantastic. It was a good location overall, apart from being very challenging weather-wise. And we used, you can see on the right-hand side there, we used lots and lots of local contractors as well to help us out. And we had lots of interest and local support from people like the Friends of Hastings Country Park, who are really supportive all the way through and really friendly. And we made sure that we spoke to, because it's such a busy site with people coming up to experience the country park, we had lots and lots and lots of great conversations with people who were really positive about the build and looking forward to it opening.
So as well as you know, having the local support, which was really important actually, as we went along with the ups and downs of the weather and COVID and all sorts of other things. Just seeing the building coming together from the plan stage was really rewarding, because it's very rare that you get you know, really highly skilled team of people along with a client and an architect, all pulling in the same direction and all really motivated for the best possible specification and the best possible outcome. Normally it's a sort of race to the finish once you get on site. And this was a very unusual build because whilst finishing was very, very important, actually the specification and the getting it right was also very important. And so, you know, whilst it's a public building, and you know, it's the first one in Sussex made out of straw. It's a utilitarian structure, which means that it is eminently changeable in its uses, and you know, you can go and have lessons in there, you can have coffee in there, you can have an art show in there. You know, it's very, very flexible as a space, and it's the first consortium build of its type that we're aware of. And so that, you know, using those local people, having that client and architect team on board, and all of the skilled artisan craftspeople that we use, it was just fantastic, a fantastic sort of thing to do. And the building shows, you know, the final building shows that.
It does. It was such a great experience, the whole thing. And having said that, we'll come on to the bad things now. So we certainly had some challenging weather on site. And also because of COVID and for various other reasons, we had some material delays, and then more material delays and different things when we came back after the first lockdown. Yes, I think, you know, I've said, I think maybe half a dozen times we had 60, 70 mile per hour plus winds on site, and it was incredibly difficult to work in, and obviously to keep people safe primarily. So that was always top of the list, making sure that we ran a safe build all the way through. Yeah, it was a difficult thing to do. I think we've got a little video here just to give you a taste of some of the weather that we had. Fairly standard rain. I think that we had, you know, well, daily for, I think, for a number of months. There we go. And we'll move on to the ugly now. So yeah, sadly we were robbed. We were burgled. We had a big container on site that we stored all of our equipment in, and we took many steps for security, but unfortunately at the end of October in 2019, so people came along and just cleaned us out, which was not great. It was really, you know, very much a low point, a difficult time, and meant that we then had to, you know, make an insurance claim, buy a lot more tools in order to be able to get people back and working again. But actually we didn't lose a lot of time, did we? We were pretty much, you know, we lost a day, I think, Mary, which was pretty good. Yeah,
I think the ugly bit about it was that it was the ever-giving gift of burglary, because every time we never actually you know, could calculate all of the tools that we'd lost, and then every time we wanted a specialist tool, we would realize that that was one of the ones that had gone missing. And so it really did keep on giving for quite a long time. We didn't lose that much time, but it just kept repeating, you know, for us, where we were having to sort of remember that that specialist tool that we'd bought was no longer available, and we either had to go and pay for a new one or manage without. And that was a tricky time.
It was, yes, and other things to do with the weather, really. So as we had some bolts that went rusty and we had to replace them with stainless. The clay on site was really difficult for moving our big timber beams around when we were doing the roof. The roof was an incredibly complex thing to build, was the main thing that took a lot longer, a tremendous amount of extra time on top of what we thought it was going to take to be able to do it. We then also had to lay some complicated drainage and other utilities work and things in as well. So yes, so we certainly had some challenges. And in fact, well, I think we've got here a picture of some of the unwelcome visitors that we had on the site. And then also a big thank you to the Hastings police, who came out on 2 or 3 occasions to actually make sure that our building was okay. this chap's taking precautions there with this taser as he was inspecting our building, but they were a great help. It was really excellent to have them available and on hand to help. And here's the finished building. So this is the entrance side of the building. As you can see, with the finished forecourt and various bits and pieces there. So this is on the north side of the building facing away from the sea. So, so this gets less of the wind. So that's why the entrance is on this side.
And I think, so we've put the title Treading Lightly there. So as we said at the beginning, that it is a site of special scientific interest and an area of outstanding natural beauty. And we are a building that sits very gently on the landscape. There is no cement on site. There are, you know, a limited amount of sort of necessary, you know, chemicals and plastics, but wherever possible we have sourced local materials where we know the supply chain, and environmentally friendly substances such as the paint and the weatherproofing that we've put on the Douglas fir cladding that you can see there. And you know, we've built it for longevity, but we've also been mindful that it is a very, very, very special site.
And that's it. We're all there. And there's another picture of some of our team on a lovely sunny day. And yeah, now I think we're ready to take any questions that you have.